day's journey. And we might not see all those animals, but we usually do have pretty good luck, so we're going to see what we can find out here today. You guys are going to be taking any pictures, try setting those cameras to a sports mode setting. That way if I'm not able to stop for a particular animal, I can still get a pretty good picture of it. And this area that we're entering right now is called the Little Estuary Forest, and this is where the animals' natural colors and markings tend to blend in more with their surroundings. There's now the hide from any predators that they might come across out in the wild. Over to the right-hand side, though, you can see the okapi walking around. Most people see the black and white stripes on the okapi's legs and assume that they're related to zebras. They're actually related to giraffes, though. One of the ways that you can tell is that the male okapis have ostones on their head. To the left-hand side, you can actually see a black rhino kind of resting up against those rocks back there. These guys can weigh about 3,000 pounds and charge us about 35 miles per hour. There is actually one right around this corner that is a lot easier to see. Now, the black rhino is becoming pretty uncommon. They're actually being poached for their horns, which contain keratin. Keratin's pretty common on us, though, too. It's found in our fingernails and our hair. But because of this poaching, there is less than 5,000 black rhinos left in the world today, so there's not very many left out there. Over to the left-hand side, up on top of this hill, if you guys look back in the trees, you can see the greater kudu. These are a larger antelope that usually stand about 5 feet tall at the shoulder. And you guys look over to the left-hand side, you are going to see a pretty large group of hippos over there. When you see a large group of them like this, they are called a float.
You can see better if you go over the line.
Also over on the left-hand side, that little branch there on the island, you can see that black kind of grayish bird standing there. That is the white-breasted cobra. These guys will fly like birds, but they'll dive into the water just like fish to retrieve their food. And these larger gray pelicans, these are the pink-backed pelicans. Might not always notice too much pink on their backs, but during mating season, their feathers do turn a very pretty shade of pink. They're also very large birds because their wingspan can reach about 5 to 6 feet long when they're fully grown. As we go over this bridge, if you guys watch over to the left-hand side, you can actually see some Nile crocodiles up there. About 20 feet long when they're fully grown. They can live to be about 45 years old when they're out in the wild, but when they're living in captivity, they can actually live to be about 80 years old. So the lower grasslands, that this area is heavily influenced by the animals that live here. The antelope eat the grass and kind of act as a natural lawnmower to their environment. Then the giraffes eat the leaves off the trees. They kind of prune them if they don't keep them all in very good shape. First thing so you're going to see as we enter the savannah, it's actually a very interesting tree. It's coming up over here on the right-hand side. This tree right over here is called the baobab tree. And most people do call this the upside-down tree because it looks like the roots are sticking straight up in the air. But it's actually just leafless about 9 months out of the year. Looks like way off in the distance out there, I am starting to see a giraffe, so I'm hoping we're going to get a much better view of them as soon as we get around these corners here. Over on the left-hand side, you can look over there and see the African wild dogs. These guys are also known as the painted dogs because of their unique colors and markings. Though they are called dogs, they're not actually related to any domestic dogs or wolves. They're completely different odds to that family. One way you can tell is unlike domestic dogs and wolves, these guys only have 4 toes. So they do kind of have a different bone structure. Now if you guys are noticing these red mounds that are out here around us, these are actually termite mounds. They bake in the sun all day and become as hard as concrete, so elephants like to use them as a scratching post. Then once they're worn down and kind of a flatter surface, the antelope will usually jump on top of them to help them spot any predators that could be lurking off in the taller grass.
Oh yeah, there's a big one up there.
You will notice this one giraffe that we're going to be going away is kind of a smaller one. This is one of the babies we have out on the reserve right now. The babies are first born. They stand about 6 feet tall. Giraffes are very tall because they'll grow to be about 20 feet tall. How pretty! I did mention their pattern earlier, kind of tells us the different types of giraffes. Patterns are also unique to that specific giraffe, so you're never going to find two with the exact same pattern. It's kind of like our fingerprints are for us. And as I over to the right-hand side, those larger gray animals over there are the white-bearded wildebeests. If you do get a good look at their face, you might notice they kind of do have a wild, menacing look to it. That's actually how they got their name. In Afrikaans, wildebeest means wild beast. We're also getting farther into elephant territory, so make sure you guys keep your eyes open for any elephants that you might see as we go along. Looks like we are going to swim over to the right as soon as we get around the corner over here.
Oh, there's the young elephant.
That's the baby one.
It is?
I don't know.
That's the elephant.
Looks kind of small, doesn't it?
This one is kind of small, but it's probably around 15 years old because it is a male elephant and they usually leave the herd when they're about that age. So we're actually going to go farther out ahead and see if we can't find a herd of elephants farther along here. As I do have to warn you, this bridge is pretty old and it doesn't always sound too good when I go over it. But I have been going over this thing for months now, never had any issues with it, so we're just going to go pulley-pulley and we should be just fine. See, those noises are totally normal. What did I tell you? Hakuna Matata, right? These are the greater flamingo. These guys are actually the lightest shade of pink for the flamingo species. They're not really born that color though. They're actually born more of a grayish color and they don't really develop that pink color until they're about a year old. It actually comes from their diet, which is brine, shrimp, and other sea creatures that are high in keratin. Left-hand side, this chestnut brown animal is called a bontebok. These guys do have very beautiful coats, and when the sun hits it just right, it'll turn a purple glossy color. They were actually hunted nearly to extinction for those coats back in the early 60s, but farmers helped them out by putting a protection on their land, so people could no longer hunt the bontebok that were living there. We are going to see a white rhino coming up here. It's across the road right now, so it's going to be over on the left-hand side. These guys get their name from the Afrikaans word wide, which means wide. It's referring to the wide square mouths that they have, and that is from apart from the black rhinos, which have more of a narrow mouth. Bigger too than the black rhinos. They actually weigh about 5,000 pounds.
Experience. Yeah. I've never seen that on all the ever. Yeah, he found some nice food over there.
Over on the left-hand side, if you look right up on top of that hill, you can actually see some cheetahs.
Oh yeah, there they are.
Cheetahs are the fastest land mammals in the world. They can run about 60 miles per hour. They can only maintain that speed though for a few hundred yards and then they have to rest again so they don't overexert themselves. Right up ahead of us, I am starting to see some kopi rocks, which can be a very common hangout for lions. They like to stand on top of these rocks and use them as a lookout throughout the day. It can be kind of difficult though to spot them sometimes because they do rest about 18 to 20 hours per day, so they're really only up and active about 4 hours a day. Normally when they do get out and go hunting, it is the lioness that usually does most of the hunting, while the males stay back to protect their territory and their young. I hope we get a chance to see some as soon as we get around this corner here. Have to watch very closely in between the rocks or sometimes back behind them because they do like to hide back there from us.
Sometimes they're always hiding. Oh, it's different color.
So big.
There's two actually.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
look,
They're
it's
back there.
chasing him.
Those ostrich, you might notice, do have wings, but they're actually flightless birds. They use those wings to help guide them whenever they're running, and they actually run about 40 miles per hour, so they're pretty fast birds. And these guys do get a bit more active sometimes in the evenings, and they'll start communicating with each other through a lower traffic noise.